So obviously you're with the Outlaws 8 years, and you do a show at Lernerville. It was during the week, and you're still with the Outlaws. What made you do that show at Lernerville, that high limit show at Lernerville, as a race director?
I like working every race I can. I'm a terrible fan. I don't like sitting. I don't like sitting watching other races. It's hard for me to do. I like working every race I can, and they offered me really good money to go work that race because they wanted it to be a good night with Dale Jr. being there. I had worked up to that point. I had worked other races and never had a word said to me. So I kind of figured it might be a problem, but I just went and did it because it was paying well.
It was a problem. And were you?
I mean, if nobody makes a big deal out of it, nobody knows I'm there, really. I mean, that's
right.
That's my job 95% of the time. If I do my job right, nobody knows who I am, which is fine by me. So I felt like they made a bigger deal out of it than what it needed to be.
Was obviously we know what happened. The World Racing Group and you guys parted ways. Were you surprised by
parted ways? That nice term for getting fired?
Well, hey, I'm going to let you say it.
But yeah, no, I got fired. I didn't part ways.
Well, okay, so they fire you. Were you surprised?
I went into the night. They knew that High Limit had interest in me, and I told them that, I had an offer, and they said, "Well, let us know, and maybe we can counter." And I said, "I don't play that game. You give me what you think I'm worth, and I'll make a decision." And I'd never heard anything, so I went into the night thinking it'd be one or two outcomes. That one, they'd be like, "Hey, we want you to stay. Here's an offer, blah, 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 blah," or I'd get fired. And well, we know what the outcome was.
Does it bother you a little bit after 8 years? I didn't know you were a tech guy, so I actually learned something here. But after the 8 years of race directing, countless races, did it bother you?
It bothered me because I felt like I let the racers down that year or last year. I felt like
at the end of the year.
Yeah, I didn't finish their year out for them, and they're used to me, blah blah blah. So I just felt like I let those guys down, not being there. It's a little disappointing to put in that much time and to not be cared about as much, I guess you should say.
So now you're at High Limit, and what exactly is your job?
Sure. What do you want to be? I mean,
sure.
A lot of people don't understand. Like, they think Brad and Kyle in it for all this money, but man, there's one thing about the team they've assembled between Brad, Kyle, myself, Kendra, Brian Walker. At that point in time, there's 5 of us doing that, and then Josh Peterman, Kyle's business manager. Like, they did every bit of it. Like, anything you can think of, one of us had to do it at that point. And people don't, like, we're all passionate. We love racing. We just want to put on good racing and, do the best we can for the sport. And like Brad, I don't know how, I guess that's why he's a 5-time outlaw champ. And I was a little better than average because he went out and won his 5th outlaw championship while putting together this series and booking races and doing everything for the series, and then would go get in a car and go race and won a championship. So that tenacity, it was hard to say no because I don't feel like there's an option of failure. I don't feel like, there's any option to fail. Like, there's only option to go forward, and we'll figure out how to do it.
And obviously there's a big rhetoric with fans, certain fans or a group of fans. Oh, this is Kyle and Brad's series that, they're going to get calls, whatever. Shouldn't. Okay. No, wait, I'm getting there. They shouldn't run their own series. And look, honestly, I'm not a fan of a driver running his own series. However, once they hired you, I've seen you in the booth. I have that luxury of hearing you do a race. I think anybody who has a receiver, they hear you do a race, which we'll get to more of that later. But your job, really, according to Brad, talking to Brad, is anything race day, it's yours. And they're pretty much just competitors at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I think that'll be tough to draw that line in the first year or two, just because, Brad is the biggest face, and he's not the biggest face. He's the biggest voice. Kyle's the face, obviously.
Yeah.
So even now today, there was people that called him on rule book stuff, and he says, I'm just going to have to tell him to call you. And it's like, yeah, that you are. So yeah, I mean, race day, anything race related with high limit is in my department. So, and then obviously I'm still going to race direct. So it's a little more on my plate, but I felt like I was ready to take that step anywhere else, and I wasn't offered. So yeah, race day will be a different look for me, and probably a little more work. But I raced, and I loved racing, and I loved trying to win. So I take that approach to race days in this position. Like, I go in and I just try to do the best I can and make it work for everybody.
So there's no problem putting back Kyle or Brad on a bad start.
Brad knows that. I've already called him. Actually, I've called them both back. I called Kyle back at Attica last year or the year before. And Brad's such a smart racer that he knows my limits, and he doesn't test them because he knows I won't even bat an eye to put them back. And I think that's part of the reason why they hired me, because they know doesn't matter if it's them or whoever else, I'm going to call it the way I see it, and that's it. And if it's wrong in somebody's eyes, well, so be it. But we can talk about it, and we can agree to disagree, but you're going to know why I did it, and that's it.
Yeah, something that you do, and I've actually talked to you about this just on the phone, is you'll go on social media and explain yourself. You'll also say, hey, I got something wrong. That's odd. And what made you kind of take that initiative throughout the years?
I read social media, and obviously there's people you're never going to get through to and whatnot, but I just try to dispel the rumors of this or that. And I'll just say, hey, it wasn't the Outlaws' call. I don't get paid extra money for this or that. That was my call. I called it because of this. And if you don't, and that's it. Like, I don't have a reason to, I just called it the way I saw it, the way I felt I saw it. And there are times I go back and look at the video and went, oh, shit. And I'll call up that driver and be like, hey, yep, I screwed you. Or that night I'll walk over to him and be like, yep, I screwed up. But I think that's the biggest way to gain respect, is to show your humility and say, hey, I did screw up. I did it. I learned from it. I'll try not to do it again. So if you're trying to argue, it's hard to say, keep arguing. If somebody says, I screwed up, I don't want to do it again. What did you see? Why, just try to get the whole thing. But yeah, I just try to be outspoken about that stuff, because I don't think a lot of other people are or have been.
Now, you mentioned the rule book. It's come out. How
Yes.
much of a role did you play in putting this rule book together?
The rule book was there from the All-Stars, so we just kind of went through it the best. You can only read something so many times before it just starts blurring together as one. So we just all went through it and kind of made our marks of what we wanted to change, or what we thought we should change, what we thought we should align, with the Outlaws on, between myself, Brad, and Kevin Nouse. We just all made our own marks, and then one day we had a call and hammered through the whole rule book, and out it came.
Welcome to another edition of the SprintCarUnlimited.com live program, a show devoted to you, the fans. You can ask questions through our chat or via phone. The number is 1-844-543-8589. Obviously, a lot of topics to talk about, some we might be hitting on. I think before we get to the elephant in the room, which was, of course, watchgate last night with High Limit. The Pennsylvania Posse hosted the World of Outlaws for the first time this year, and the Pennsylvania Posse fared well, which I'm not going to lie, kind of surprised me. The two factions split, with Buddy Kofoid winning at Lincoln and Anthony Macri winning at Williams Grove. Should be noted, the Posse had 4 podiums to the Outlaws 2 in the 2 events, and they split top 5 finishes 5-5. So I think for now, the Pennsylvania Posse hometown crowd has a lot to be happy about and a lot to kind of puff up their chests. So we'll see how that progresses when in July, when they roll back into town to Babs Motor Speedway and for the Summer Nationals at Williams Grove. High Limit's back in action, and it's a busy schedule in the month of May. We mentioned that there's 15 races in 31 days. And they got cracking last week with Lakeside. Well, 81 Speedway was canceled. Then they were at Lakeside and Tri-City. And Rico Abreu got the win at Lakeside. There was some controversy. There was contact with Kerry Madsen. He talked about it in Victory Lane. If you want to talk about whose fault it was, whatever, we can do that. But he went on to take the win. And then at Tri-City, Corey Day was back in Victory Lane at, it's his second win of the year with High Limit. So then we have last night. So Kokomo Speedway, okay race. Not the best one I've seen at Kokomo, not the worst, but Rico Abreu had what you would call a dream finish. Every driver dreams of this, making up ground in the last couple of laps, making a last corner pass, Hail Mary, so to speak. I did a 90 at 9. Go check it out on Justin Peck, because watching him do the interview afterward was painful because, you lead all that way and get past in the last corner. He was a little conservative. I think he would admit that. Rico let it hang out, stepped up his game and started hitting the outside and got by there at the end by the narrowest of margins. So, Rico Abreu, I think he won 2 or 3 over the last few days. And then also, I think he's won like 5 weeks in a row, 4 weeks in a row now. One's a World of Outlaws win, had a Knoxville win, 2 High Limit wins. So looking really good right now. And of course, might as well hit on, I guess, Watchgate. Social media kind of lit up after he got out of the car. He was talking to Tony Laporta in Victory Lane. And he looked down at his watch. And I have a little insight to this because this isn't the first time Rico's worn it. He wore it last week. I saw it. I called Mike Hess last Tuesday and talked to Mike Hess about that. And, basically what it was, what they know, so on and so forth. So if you want to ask me about that, I will gladly talk about the conversation. I had something on social media last night about it, the conversation and what Mike has said. So obviously, I'm sure we'll be talking about watches. And then also we got another big week of racing coming up. I think we're in full swing now. For me, May's kind of what I would call the beginning of the real season. It gets pretty jam-packed. Outlaws are in Canada. It's the first time, I think, since 2017. They're at Oswego tomorrow and Thursday. Then they go to Cornwall Sunday. High Limit's already been at Kokomo on Monday. They're at Fremont tomorrow before heading to New York, Ramsonville, and Utica Rome. I'm sure Jim from Buffalo will want to talk about that, even though he won't go because he hates High Limit, which, okay. But he's been clamoring for a race at Ramsonville. He's got it. Now he needs to support it. But all right, those are the storylines. So let's hit the chat. Let's hit the phones. What do we got? Jump the cushion. Williams Grove hosts 6 Woo races a year. Why can't they update their facility to be more modern? Even labeling the section of the grandstands would be a huge step in the right direction. I think tracks get complacent. I'm not, I don't think it's, I think, I sometimes think tracks let things go through the cracks because do they get lazy? Do they have the personnel to do it? What was the weather in the off season? I think personnel I'm not making excuses. It should be done, but personnel at tracks is a real problem. And I know it is in central Pennsylvania right now. I know it has been at the Grove at times this year. So again, did they have the personnel to do it? Maybe stay an hour later each day and do it. I think tracks get lazy. I think they sometimes take the easy way out, and there's your answer. So what else do we got? Jeremy, did you see the recent interview of Lance DeWeese and the comments on the wing conspiracy with Danny Dietrich and 1A? I did not. I know he was on Turn 2 Terribles. I've yet to see that interview. It's regrettably, I like to check out as much as I can. I'll listen to Justin Fiedler. I'll listen to Chaz, not every show, or not every Fiedler show. I try and catch as much as possible. Driver's Project, Turn 2 Terrible. If something's coming up, just so I know in case I miss anything. But no, I did not see it. All right. Any updates on Craig Kinzer on the Peak Grove 70? No, he's not with the Peak Grove 70. I heard Australia. I know he's significant others from down there. I doubt seriously, or I don't know if you'll see Craig Kinzer this year. I think the other thing is people have forgotten about it. It seems like, which is kind of odd. So I guess there is something to that, out of sight, out of mind. But a good question. No, I have not heard anything on Craig Kinzer from a racing standpoint. I know he's not in the Pete Grove car. All right. What else do we got? We got Trevor on line 1. Trevor, how are you doing? What do you got for me?
Doing good, Jeremy. How are you doing?
Can't complain. Doesn't help anyway.
So I'm originally from Pennsylvania. I moved down to East Tennessee for work currently.
Okay.
I went to a race at Volunteer Speedway. It was a 305 sprint car race, and the fans loved it like they've never seen sprint cars before in their lives. They did a 4 wide like parade lap for 305s, right? Like,
yeah,
it doesn't seem right coming from a guy from Pennsylvania, but every phone was out. People were cheering. I guess my question is how do you get big time 410 sprint car racing to the South?
Man, that's late. You got a couple issues there. I think the first and foremost, it's late model country. And I just think,
right.
And that's a tough question because at some point, I think both series are going to have to go there more, whether it be tracks closing in the north, whether it be just oversaturation in some places, or, look, we have 2 national series now. So what happens from there? I think some of it is to facilities. I've heard Volunteers really racy, but the facility's a little sketchy. I'm not 100% sure about that, but it's what I've been told. So
yeah, definitely. The 305s were okay in my opinion, but 410s definitely would have been it would be a pretty scary event for them, I'd say, if they don't get something around the turns.
Yeah, so I think that's part of it. I think it's been, look, I've always said safety is an issue of convenience, because I can point to tracks that both national series go to that I think there's some pretty unsafe things, but it's kind of, they're not jonesing enough to go to the South. And I think they've been burned in the South a few times too. There's a reason High Limit's not at Golden Isle this year. It wasn't well attended. There's some shows in Oklahoma, Texas weren't attended very well last year, so they took it off the schedule. I know from a High Limit standpoint, you're still feeling out the scheduling process. You're only a year and a half in. It's
Right.
they're kind of feeling things out. And I think the Outlaws have a better handle on their what you call their traditional tracks that they're going to go to. And I think one has to fall off the schedule before they open it up to someone else. So I think there's a variety of reasons. Kind of, I always say there's a pie chart, and it's a percentage of reason for something all the way around.
Gotcha. Yeah, my thing is just the 305 race had that many people excited, and yeah, people in the South, it definitely is late model country, but they need to be like, some people need to be more open-minded for sure. But
sure,
I would say 90% of the people there, when they were doing the 4 wide parade lap for a 305 race, were on their feet, their phones were out, taking pictures and videoing, and the race was good. It was racy joint, and
yep.
I'm just one. I like to travel to different racetracks, and I just feel like, so I mean, yeah, it's definitely some safety issues. It's definitely the biggest thing, I'd say, for sure. But I would love to see National 410 racing at other places like the South, so people can actually see what that is like.
No, and I think you bring up a good point. As long as the safety's okay, I think that is something that both national circuits should look at. I mean, and High Limit, I guess, can do it more than the Outlaws, because the Outlaws, again, have their traditionals. They're going to have 6 races at Williams Grove. They're going to have, the Knoxville Nationals plus 4 other shows at Knoxville Raceway. And then you have Eldora. They're going to have, their shows. And by that time, you're kind of scheduling in between. So I do think the Outlaws should maybe shake it up a little bit. And High Limit, I think, is in that process. And maybe we'll see something at more southern tracks. We'll see what happens. But unfortunately, High Limit's starting on the West Coast now, and I think that's going to be a regular thing. I'd be surprised if Vegas and the West Coast wasn't a regular thing to start the season, which leaves the South out once you get to the summer months. So, I mean, hopefully they look at it, and I agree. I'd like to see some races down at those tracks.
Right. One more thing for you too, just to kind of piggyback off of last week's live. Say if I do want to take a trip to California and watch really good sprint car racing, what is the safest track to attend?
Well, it's not Antioch.
Maybe the chat can help with that.
Look, Chico. Look, I've never heard anything. Chico. I think Placerville. I think those two, to me, and of course Thunderbolt or Tulare. I think those 3 tracks are the really good tracks in California at this point. I think it's Chico, Tulare, and Placerville. I think you can't go wrong. I've never heard anything really, really, really bad about any of them.
I look forward to getting out there someday. Jeremy, I appreciate your time, and I appreciate what you do for sprint car racing. Have a good one.
Thanks, man. Thanks for calling. All right. I knew it was coming. Jim from Buffalo. How are you, Jim?
Oh, hey, Jeremy. How we doing today?
I'm doing okay. I might be up in your neck of the woods next week. Or this week, I should say.
You may not want to. The forecast doesn't look really great.
Yeah, that's how it is down here too.
So, but I gotta say though, I'm a little nervous tonight because I think for the first time this year my Jets might be in trouble. They might be in a little trouble. I
told you they're frauds.
I want them to win, but I'm not optimistic. So, anyways,
they'll be out.
But hey, first of all, let's get to the racing stuff.
Go ahead.
You want to take away wristwatch, gate, and everything like that. Just ban all electronics on the driver except for the one-way radio. It's simple, cut and dry. That's it. Period. Go over them with a metal detector or something. That's that way shut everybody up, and that's it.
Well, okay. So since you brought it up, I talked to Mike Hess last week. I asked about Rico's watch. And it wasn't a scripted answer. And here's how I know it wasn't a scripted answer. I've interviewed thousands of people since 1997, whether it's high school sports, professional sports, or racing. It wasn't your typical stammering for an answer. Okay. So now I'm not saying the watch is what it is. According to Mike Hess, Rico brought the watch to high limit officials, wanted to make sure that he didn't do something that was against the rules. The rules state smartwatches, two-way communication, and really this is a rules problem. So they researched the watch, and according to Mike Hess, the watch passed because there was no two-way communication on it. It was strictly what you would call a fitness watch. Now, I didn't see the watch yet, so I can't, I can only go by what I'm told. You're right. There's two ways you can handle this. You can either say you can wear anything, or you get rid of any watches whatsoever. There's only two ways to handle it. And obviously, it's something these series and locally are going to have to look at now because it's becoming a problem. Because we can't have nice things. We just can't. The minute you see something, everybody, I saw the Kyle Larson that somebody's complaining about the slope of the wing. I mean, Jesus, it's every little thing. So look, it's one of two decisions. It's one of two ways. Just get rid of watches altogether or just open it up that they can use watches. There's no other way to do it now. And I think the two national series have to address it. Unfortunately, as is the case with most dirt track racing, nothing's ever done. It just goes away until the next time.
Yeah, I agree. Or you could do like I think PPM put out on Twitter today. You can just wear a shock collar, one shock for go high, two shocks for go low, and hope you don't have a heart attack while you're getting zapped, I guess.
or one of those. Remember the guys in the casinos? They wear the things around their thighs, and there'd be a spotter at another table. If you had a weak dealer, they would signal them on it would hit your thigh, the little, almost like one of those old style deals, how they sent messages and stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
I know what you're talking about.
I mean, yeah, it's a little James Bond for me, but look, again, there's two ways to handle it. That's it. And now we're to the point where something needs to be done. That's it.
Mm-hmm. All right. And don't get me wrong. I don't hate high limit. I like a lot of the drivers in there. I just don't like Brad Sweet, and I'm not going to give him any of my money.
Okay. So, well, wait a second. I heard Ramsonville, you won a national event at Ramsonville. You have it. Now I expect you to be there.
Oh, no, I don't want a national event. I want the national event, the World of Outlaws.
Well played. Well played.
I mean, you saw me when I went up to, what's his name there a couple of years ago, asking him when you were chatting there at Nationals. And I went up to Brian and said, hey, when are you coming back to Ransomville? You guys sell a ton of T-shirts, and it's packed.
Could be the cinder block walls.
He gave me the old. Yeah, well, they have those at, not Attica. What's the place down there? It used to be KC Speedway.
Atomic.
They have those at Atomic. No. So, and they race there. But anyways, now I got to get off the phone, but a couple things. Williams Grove, why don't they put a guardrail around the inside with a couple places where safety guys can get out, just like they do at Port, just like they have at Lincoln and stuff like that. It's just, they need to do that. They need to cover their ass. I think it'd be better. I think it'd be safer. And the drivers that have a better aspect as far as where they are in the turn, instead of looking at them damn Zoot tires all the time and taking a chance of hitting their left front and going airborne.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more focused on I want a fence in turn 1 and 2.
Oh, yeah. We've discussed that before. But just to touch on a couple other things there, kudos to Knoxville. The other night, I think they had 26 or 27 360s and just a little bit over the 24 limit for 410s. And they said, just run everybody. I thought that was fantastic. It was good for all the teams to get out there because they put a lot of hard work in there, and I applause to Knoxville. I thought that was a great gesture that they did to get everybody out in the track. And then just a couple other things. I think Oshwegan should be a heck of a show if it, once again, doesn't rain. And Cornwall could be sneaky good. That's a little track. It's a little bull ring. And I'd watch for a guy like Buddy or Carson or Cole or something like that, a West Coast driver there that get his elbows up and start slinging it, because that's a sneaky little place, and it produces pretty good racing. So
well, I look for
you might
Donnie
wanna
Schatz
watch
to win
that.
a north of the border this week. Call it my shot.
Yeah, I agree. And my last thought is DJ Neto the new Dick Dastardly of the West Coast?
I'll tell you what, he seems
Holy.
to be in some kind of contact drill every week. And I don't understand it. I mean, I don't think it's all of a sudden. I mean, he doesn't always race a lot, but this year it's like pinball out there sometimes. And
he must have plowed a lot of snow in the wintertime up in the Sierras or something. Holy crap. He's hitting everything.
Well, yeah, it looks like contact drills out in California right now.
So anyways, all right, you have a wonderful week. Enjoy the show.
Thank you.
Maybe you'll come up to Western New York. If you do, I'll buy you some wings. Have a great night.
Yep, I
Bye-bye.
appreciate it, Jim. Take care. All right, that was Jim from Buffalo. Jeremy, will you be at the Livingston parking lot party Saturday at Lincoln? No. My plan is to go to New York as of now to take in the high limit races, mainly because the weather down here just doesn't look good. So if it looks bad up there, I don't know what I'm going to do. Maybe I'll go to Charlotte and watch the Bears play the Checkers. Who knows? But the plan right now is to go up north to New York. Any Zeb updates? No. Still nothing out of Zeb. No plans as of now that I know of. Talked to him, as I said, a few times through the spring here, and there's been, I mean, he's had a couple opportunities, but none that really stand out to him or he wants to take. So I think he's content right now to do whatever it is he's doing outside of racing. And if something good comes up, I expect him to get the call, but we'll see. Haven't heard anything right now. As of now, nothing. What kind of car count do you have High Limit and World of Outlaws can expect this weekend? Oh, New York's tough because you don't have 410s up there. So your ESS guys, you're going to have some guys stick 360s under the hood for the super slick. So I'd say 28, 30, maybe for High Limit. World of Outlaws, they're at Oswego. I think they announced 35 so far. So I expect mid-30s up in Canada. Not too bad. I mean, I don't need a D main. I have no interest in that. So, all right. Ken on line 3. Ken, what do you got for me?
Okay, Jeremy. Why Jim was saying about Knoxville letting everybody start.
Yeah.
I was looking at that earlier, and I think High Limit has to take a look at their schedule next year, especially on Saturday nights, where they're scheduling. If they're scheduling a race on a Saturday night, like there's going to be certain Saturdays where there's 10 410 races being run at different parts of the country. And if they schedule a race where there's no other support, they're going to, run into a problem where they aren't going to have more than 24 cars.
Well, I mean, it's a possibility. I know this past weekend at Tri-City, would they have 25 or something like that? They might have got to 28. I think once the summer starts, it's not an issue.
I think like eight that were at the Friday night race went to Knoxville on Saturday night
Right.
instead of running the High Limit race on Saturday night.
Well, and the reason for that is look at High Limit raised their purse to $6,000 to win and $1,000 to start. And they did it to keep their guys at home. And let's face it, people want to get even your guys who don't run regular, maybe every week, but run, say, 75% of the races at Knoxville. They want to get laps at Knoxville for the Nationals. If you look at the Knoxville schedule, there aren't many opportunities to do that. They start in April. They usually have rainouts. Last year, they were hit hard by that. I think they might have had 9 shows that weren't sanctioned. Something like that. It was a very low number. So I agree, but High Limit kind of, I think if they get 28 cars, I think they're fine. And once they get to May, like this week, they go to New York, they'll probably get around 28. Then they come to Port Royal. They're going to get a lot for the Weichert. And Grandview, they'll do okay. I don't know. Every year we talk about car count, it gets overblown for the first 2 months, and then it goes by the wayside. And then it all equals out, and they go back up, 30, 40. I don't know. And I also would say that High Limit is probably still evaluating their schedule. I don't think what you see now is going to be the finished product for High Limit. I think it's going to take 3 to 5 years to get your schedule maybe the way you want it. So I think maybe they will. Maybe they'll change some things.
Okay. The only other thing I had on my mind tonight, did the Outlaws change their procedure for provisionals in the past couple of years? Used to be that if they had 2 provisionals, then the locals could have 2 provisionals. But Saturday night, the Outlaws didn't use any provisionals, and the locals used 2.
Yeah, and I have to look. Did they have any who were eligible for provisionals, or did they qualify through their heat races? And did they?
Skylar G didn't qualify, but he may have already used the one he
used them then. Now, Volusia, you can have as many as you want at Volusia, and they don't count against you. Same as World Finals. So you get 2. Believe you get 2 provisionals the first half of the year and 2 the second. Not including Volusia and World Finals. So he probably used them up and couldn't take them. Didn't have anything to take.
Yeah, but the locals still could use, had 2 that they used. I agree. I don't know if it's you or Ryan that has said I don't think there should even be a provisional.
No, I've said
you don't make the show. You don't make the show.
Right. I am against provisionals, and again, there was a provisional the other night, and TJ Stutz had a really bad night. He took a provisional, spun, and that's how that big wreck happened up in 3 and 4. I mean, I'm not a provisional guy. If you don't make it, you don't make it. That's like saying we're going to add the 5th quarter to the Super Bowl because, you know what? He tried. No.
Yeah, it's maybe once they're lapped, they should just be flagged off.
Well,
something
you can't do that because
they're not going to improve.
Lap traffic improves the race.
They're not going to improve their position, and they're not going to improve their pay by being out there because I think it used to be they got their $600 unless they really moved up. I don't know if it's still that way or not.
No, you get basically you get nothing as far as pay until you move up past the start money. So if you get to the top 10, you'll get that position minus what start money is. So it does make no sense. It makes no sense it makes no sense to do it. None.
Especially if you're not racing for points. Now, if you're racing for points,
tough.
That maybe
you should have qualified.
But if you're not racing for points, so okay. Well, thank you, Jeremy, and look forward to hearing you each week.
All right, thanks, Ken. I appreciate it. All right, 3 calls in already. That's good. What else do we got here? Got more on the chat. We'll check that. Freddie Raymer was impressive in the feature on Saturday. Started last and had a top 10. Yeah, he looked really good. It's been a struggle through the early part of the season for Freddie, and maybe they're starting to find something. It's just they were bad in that car last year. So now that they go back to it full time this year, they're no longer with the Eichelberger group, Rich Eichelberger. I think that they got some work to do. And Saturday it'll be interesting to see how he does this week if we race and moving forward. See if maybe they found something or can use it as a springboard to better finishes. All right, what else do we get? What's the excuse this week now that we know a Ford can run up front? It's 3 races. Donnie won the King's Royal with a Ford. So would you rather run third, second, or win a King's Royal? I'll take the King's Royal. I think it's situational. I think there's nights that the Ford's good, and I think it's nights where it's not as good. I think there's problems. Again, I think reliability and consistency, and I think it comes down to the driver too. Donnie's a guy who feathers the throttle, and I think maybe his style doesn't fit the Ford. I mean, I've talked to him about that a little bit, whereas Peck more mashes it. He's more of a, on the throttle. So, look, I think it's situational. I think there's going to be nights the Ford's good, and I think there's going to be nights where the Ford doesn't run as well. So, or it's something else on the car. So, I don't know. I don't get too wrapped up in the whole Ford thing. Is Cale Thomas in the 12 car full time? As far as I know, yes. As far as I set quick time against High Limit this week, finishes weren't there, but he is in that car from what I gather moving forward. What else do we got? What does Williams Grove really need other than moving the pits? I think moving the pits would be huge. I think it would help their show, especially when you're running time trials and have to funnel out of the back pit. Oh, it gets so long. Look, if it were me and I had money to burn, I would reshape it and bring 3 and 4 into the access road into the pit area. I would also put a fence in 1 and 2. I would also maybe work on my guardrail in the backstretch. Last I saw it, it didn't look too good. Those are the immediate changes I would make. Now, I don't think it's as bad as some people make it out to be either. The race the other night wasn't hateful. I've seen. Look, I've gone to Path Valley and it rubbered up. Situation. I mean, again, it's the Grove has some work it needs to do, and we'll see if they get on it. So, all right. Can or will Chris Windom win this year? Ooh. I think he gets a top 5. I don't think he wins. I think the story, I mean, he's running decent, just like Zach Hampton, Garrett Williamson. Garrett Williamson's only taken 1 provisional this year. 1. They said Chris Windom hasn't taken any, but he did at Volusia. To me, that counts. I don't want to hear that, oh, you get unlimited, provisionals. If you take one, you take one. They didn't start the season after Volusia. So, yeah, I think those 3 guys have been a decent storyline for the World of Outlaws. I think Chris Windom has probably fared better than most people have thought. I know Zach Hampton has. And Garrett Williamson, to me, Windom and Williamson are the front runners in the rookie chase. So I don't think he wins. I think he gets a top 5 somewhere. But I don't know. What's a successful season for him? We'll have to go to the chat for that one. Your thoughts when McFadden takes the reins of the 21 this summer? See how he gels with Drew Warner. I expect them to be quick. McFadden has more experience than Tanner Holmes. He's obviously run all the tracks. So, I think they'll look pretty good. It's putting Holmes. I think people get caught up in 1 or 2 finishes and, oh my God, this guy's, on fire. It's McFadden's a more experienced driver. I think Drew Warner might be able to learn as much from McFadden as, McFadden can running that car. So it'll be an interesting combination. I'm anxious to see how it plays out. Is it time for all the national series to ban all wrist wear? Yeah. Yeah. Look, again, I said earlier, it's one of two things. You either, open it up or you ban them all. And that's not me saying anyone's cheating but obviously people are thinking it. It's an optics thing. People have no faith in it. So therefore for the integrity of your series, you have to, and really the rule's written bad. Because it says Wi-Fi, two-way communication. It doesn't say you can't wear a watch. This is one time, and I never thought I'd say this. The rule is too defined. Normally, you don't have that in sprint car racing. Guess what? This is too defined. They should just say, look, no watches of any kind. Or you can wear whatever you want. Pick one. Because the current rule isn't doing the sport any justice at this point. Again, not saying anyone's cheating. Just, it's the optics of it. Fans have no faith in what they're being told. All right. Is that it? Is it an early night? Oh, nope. Bring back old school promoting. Colton Gauss. Well, Colton does a good job with old school promoting. And that's why I feel Babs Motor Speedway is on the uptick so much in Central PA. I think he talks to the drivers. I think he does he meets with them in the off season. They're doing something this week where your girlfriend or wife gets in free. I mean, you don't see that often. So Sunday, look, head out to Babs with your girlfriend or wife because they get in free. I think it's the drivers, not the fans, but it's the competitors. So there you go. I think that's, they did a half off thing too in the off season. You could get tickets for half off up until a certain point for the year. I don't know anybody doing anything like that. So, okay, Will on line 4. Will, how are you doing this week?
Oh, not too bad. We got to watch an ARC race without any rain.
Okay.
Very, I guess you'd call it exciting and all kinds of weird stuff that happened on that race.
It's NARC. Weird stuff happens every week.
Exactly.
I mean, what are we talking about here?
Well, it's been a couple of days now, so I've been able to calm down, cool down or whatever, but I was pissed off at Montgomery. He got spun, and then, I think it's okay to let the guy know, okay, yeah, you got me, you got one coming, but, he did almost everything except destroy the other guy's car, and the NARC officials did nothing. That warranted a black flag, using your car to
as
damage somebody else's car, something like that.
Yeah, it's using your car as a weapon.
Yes. And they did. I guess they put him on probation, so they can keep their car count.
Secret? Was it double secret probation? Like, come on. Get out of here with the probation.
I know. Like I said, I lost a lot of respect for the guy because he had been doing some good things, and and when you act like a little baby throwing a temper tantrum on the racetrack, I don't care what you say. Well, I'm sorry. A couple hours later, it's what you do in the here and now that counts.
I don't disagree with you. I don't look. The decision making, penalties, teching, all that stuff that falls under that umbrella is shaky everywhere, and it's certainly not a priority on the West Coast. I mean, I've seen so many things out there that just watching it, but again, it's everywhere. It's not just one place. I think some of it is people don't want to lose car counts. Everybody right now, I mean, these tracks aren't swimming in money. So I think they're afraid to lose stars. I think they're afraid to lose car count. I think they're afraid, maybe the car goes somewhere else. And the problem is the cars can go somewhere else. If you want to stop stuff, like from a national tour perspective, look, you get caught doing something with the World of Outlaws, you can't run high limit, and vice versa. But that would require them to work together. And this sport has a problem.
None of them do.
No, this sport has a problem doing anything like that. So, I mean, in the NFL, if you get caught for using some kind of performance enhancing product, you can't go to another team. You can't go back and play college. You can't go play in the Canadian League. You're done. You're sitting. That's it. So again, this is part of the problem. One of many.
Yeah, that's the case. I mean, that's I guess when you spend your hard-earned money you buy your ticket. Anything and everything can happen.
Yeah, that's for sure. So it needs to be better.
Yes, I totally agree with that. Thank you for taking my call.
No problem, Will. Thank you. All right, we're moving along. We're, I guess 40 minutes in. We got another chat. The All-Stars raced at Bulls Gap in the early 2000s, and the place was super heavy. Didn't race well at all. I mean, that's another, track prep at places like, okay, when USAC comes here, sometimes the guys aren't exactly happy about track prep because they like them small. They like small tracks that are heavy, thick cushion up to the half the car, in Indiana, and then they come here and they don't get that all the time. So yeah, I'm assuming that's a problem too. You're not used to having a certain class, so you don't know how to prep the track for that class, maybe to provide the best race possible. So, I could see that. Jeremy's thoughts on the Tarleton driver change. Word is McFadden is bringing the TRD power plant with him. I've not heard that. The TRD thing is new to me. Definitely something to check into. So thank you very much for tipping me off to that. Look, McFadden's going to give them a better showing on the road. And if they run California, probably as well. Because McFadden, you can't compare. It's not fair to compare Tanner Holmes to James McFadden. I think James McFadden, when he left, was a top, he's flirting with a top 10 guy. He was winning high limit races. He won World of Outlaws races. He was a really good driver. So, and experience. So there's obviously, I think it's unfair to compare Tanner Holmes to him. So I expect the 21 to fare better on the road than with Tanner Holmes. And that's nothing against Tanner Holmes. It's just experience and know-how. So, and James McFadden's a pretty talented driver. I like him a lot. All right. Watch out for Stuart Friesen-Schweigen. He's in the Steyrs car. Yeah, that's a good point. Won an Outlaws race up there before, and definitely a guy you're going to have to watch, especially if it's dry slick. If it's dry slick, he could win another one. So he's that good. Have you talked to TJ Stutz after his tough Saturday night at Williams Grove? No, I don't think there was really any reason to talk to him at that point. I'm sure he was well aware of his showing. And I'm sure he's knowing TJ and talking to TJ as much as I have. I'd be willing to bet that he knows it wasn't good, and he probably knows he shouldn't have taken the provisional. So I don't think that's something I needed to tell him at this point. Any news on Cisney finding a ride? None yet. Have heard nothing. I know he's still trying to put his deal together. I think he's short a motor, which is pretty important. So nothing on Dylan Cisney yet. Of course, Port Royal had an off week. So we'll see. I'll probably give him a call later this week. I touch base with these guys, whether it's Zeb or Dylan or, some of these other guys once every 2-3 weeks, something like that. So I talked to Dylan, I think, about a week and a half ago. So he's due for a call. All right. What else do we have? Sealands Grove 410 car count for Friday. Ooh. The weather looks crappy, so that's not going to help them. I mean, 17. I'll say 17. I'm sure Dietrich will go up there. But again, if the weather's sketchy, does he go up there? You know, if the weather's even remotely bad, I pull the plug. So, any word on Anthony's finger after the celebration Saturday night, Williams Grove? He was fine. When I interviewed him afterwards, just a little bloody, cut it. It's no big deal. No big deal at all. Does the hard charger and Woo get extra money? You know, that's a good question. I don't know. I wonder if they get product because it's KSE, if I'm not mistaken. I take it for granted. You know, you're walking down at the end of the night. You hear it every week, and it's just kind of in one ear, out the other. So I'm not sure if they get money for that. I've never seen extra money for that, but that doesn't mean they don't give it. All right, what else do we have? Time trials took 1 hour and 15 minutes Saturday. Yeah, that's bad. I think that's what drags the World of Outlaws shows down the most at the Grove. Usually you're starting your heat races at 9. Somewhere in that 9:15 range, in between there. It's just too late. And moving the pits out back, clear. I don't want to hear that it can't be done. I just don't. We put a man on the moon. We can't clear that. Are you kidding me? You can get that done for free. It's Phil. You can get all that wooded area taken out. So, yeah, they did it the one time out of necessity. They put the haulers back there when they had bad rain the one time. It ended up raining out anyway eventually, but they put everybody back there, and the time trials work so much better. Think about what you could do with that big infield pit area. And I think viewing wise, it would be, I think they'd buy some grace with fans. So I think it would be a good move. Props to Zach Hampton. Kept it in the park at the Grove. Harsh, man. Harsh, Jim. That's harsh. Yes, he did. And he actually qualified for a main event as well. So there you go. Rough crowd. What's your thoughts on Chase Dietz's season? If he improves, do you think the Stamen 23 goes national next year? No, it's not going to go national. No. As far as I know, Chase still has a job. Now, maybe that's changed, but that's first and foremost. Secondly, national tour is different. When he went to Peevely, that didn't go so well. Now, granted, first time there. I understand that, but no, I don't think there's any chance that they go to a national tour. I think they're having a great season. I think it helps that Tommy Carl and Chase they worked together last year at Zemco. I think that helps. I think they look really good. You know, leading the area in podiums, leading the area in top 5 finishes. And now they only have 1 win, but they have like 6 second place finishes. I like what's going on there. And it's good for the area too, because it adds another competitive car when the National Series comes in and on a weekly basis. Normally we're talking about Dietrich, Macri, Raymer, maybe Zerfoss this year. Now you can add Chase Dietz to the mix. I like how far Chase Dietz has come in the last couple of years when he was running his own car. Now he gets in this car, a lot better funded, and he has a crew chief like Tommy Carl with him. I think it's a good story. Probably the best story in Central Pennsylvania this year so far. All right. Narc racing is a breed of its own. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Montgomery owned it. He apologized to Katie. That's fine that he apologized, but it doesn't change it. Sometimes I think we just go, oh, well, he apologized so he gets a pass. No, because somebody's still got to pay for it. Write him a check. I mean, there's no other way to say it. You go out and use your car to crack up somebody else's stuff on purpose. I mean, come on. It's nice that he said he's sorry, but don't do it. I mean, that's come on. All right. Houston's had a good first night. Caleb Johnson came from ninth to win. Many drivers passed a lot of cars, as well as Tim's winners. Rubbered up late in the feature, but very hot, windy weather didn't help. No, now that Houston is going, like I said earlier, it seems like the season's in full swing now. You get to May, every track's going. The two national series pick up the pace. I'm anxious to get to Houston for the High Bank Nationals. I got to take care of that as well, get those reservations and stuff. 250,000 to win. I hope the track's good. I know they have a rubber up problem sometimes, but from what I saw last week, I like Caleb Johnson in that car as well. It's good he was mostly a 360 guy. Now he's kind of in that 410 realm. I like Dennis Gainey giving him a shot. And, coming from ninth, really in any of those fields in this age of parity, I think is good. So, yeah, kudos to Caleb Johnson and also Houston for putting on a good show. Just curious, do you know of any of Central PA's guys heading to New York this weekend? I think it's going to be very weather dependent. I could see a couple guys going north if the weather's bad here and clears up there. If it does that, then I think they'll go. I don't think they're going to drive up there to get rained out. They can do that at home and save diesel. So I don't expect it. Maybe 1, 2. I have not seen what Danny Dietrich's doing this week yet, but I know he does. I know everybody. Baps is good this week. Sunday it's 0% chance. So are guys going to want to go up there, possibly sit all night in a rain situation, and they have to be at Baps on Sunday? I just don't expect a lot of guys heading north. All right, what else do we got? I graduated Newport with Jerry Regal in 1986. Did you ever work with Jerry? Jerry's my best friend, actually. My mentor got me in at the newspaper. Great guy. I thought he was a really, really good writer. I miss him all the time. He died of stomach cancer, and I think about him a lot. Yeah, he was a really, really good guy. I still talk to his widow. Sometimes we go out to lunch and whatnot. He's an unforgettable guy. I think about him a lot, and I miss him. How about those silver wings for Macri and Dietrich? Okay. Look, I've talked to some guys about it. They're light. They're a little lighter. I don't think anything's going on. This is not new. I saw this in 1989. I saw it throughout the years. It's every once in a while somebody puts one on. I don't think it's a big deal at all. Yeah, Dietrich timed well. Okay. Macri timed well. Okay. If you go out at a certain time, the wing's not going to matter, especially at tracks that drop off. So, I think, look, I think they're a little lighter weight. They're built maybe a little different, but I don't think they're cheating or anything. It's because I've seen it before. And I think sometimes they do stuff just to do stuff. But look, I don't think Dietrich's spending money for a wing or Macri's spending money for a wing if it doesn't help. I just think it's lightweight. It's built out of a different material. I just don't think it's that big of a deal. Everybody can do it, and I've seen it in the past. What's your thoughts on Cy Lynch so far? Oof. I thought it would be better. And I think what's disappointing is he isn't timing well. I thought he would time better. They've struggled this year. He looks every bit of a rookie on the road. Maybe the second half of the year, He'll pick up the pace. Maybe he just needs to get back east. I don't know, but it's been rough. Admittedly, I took him to win Rookie of the Year. I was wrong. He's not going to win Rookie of the Year, I don't think, unless something drastically changes. So I got that one wrong. Kel Thomas posted today that he has zero plans anytime soon. Cameron Key back into 12X. There you go. I thought he was in it full time. At least that's what somebody told me. But admittedly, I did not check with Kale yet. So yes, there you go. Thank you very much, Night Owl. I'm looking for Macedo to take the checkers in Cornwall on Sunday. Macedo's good on these little California-like bull rings. Yeah, Buddy Kofoid's pretty good on him. Gio's good on him. Macedo. Just pick any California guy at this point. I mean, that's, Donnie's 1 for 1 there. Donnie's run there once and he won. I think Donnie Schatz gets a win. Maybe a 90 at 9 tomorrow. Just saying. I think Donnie wins this weekend. I'm calling my shot. But I would say Oswego before Cornwall. Has Torgensen ever been named as the official driver of the 1A or just taking it week to week? They say week to week. I think they're not the most social media savvy team. Like, they're not going to go out and put a bunch of stuff out all the time. They like to fly under the radar, especially Jacob. I think we all know that by now. Jacob isn't out there posting every little thing they do. I think Torgerson, I mean, he made the Outlaws show at the Grove. I think that's good. I mean, I didn't expect him to go out and win every race like Babs. I think he'll be at Babs this weekend, and we'll see how he does. So, no, I don't think he's officially been named for the year or anything like that, but they kind of take things week to week. All right. What did you think of Justin Whittall's showing on Saturday? I liked it a lot. I did a notebook on SprintCarUnlimited.com, which was highlighted by the lead was about Whittall. I think Whittall's come a long way in the last couple of years. Last year was a breakout year. He had 3 wins. He's calmed down. He needed to calm down. Like, he was wrecking a lot. He's fast. Always been fast. He's calmed down a little bit. He's thinking his way through a race more, not taking as many chances, being more calculated. And I think we see the performance getting better. So I liked it. He lost breaks. I know it says only 7th to 5th. I think he was up to 4th at one point. He was challenging Dietrich. He didn't have breaks second half of that race. So Justin Whittall looks really good, and I'm anxious to see how he performs the rest of the year. All right. Is there anything else? Oh, God. Hey, Heath, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm okay. You seem mad about something.
Oh, I just wanted to call in and ask you how you keep your hair so good. Hairnet at night?
You know what it is? I don't have any.
I know. I just don't.
So Heath, I'm going to ask you something. What's with these silver wings? What's different about them?
Honestly, I think that it's just a powder coating thing, like weight. Qualifying wings have been around for a good bit. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I done it back when I was on the 2-car with LMR. Obviously, people have figured out different things to do. You know, Silva has no hookup for his wing slider. That deal there just kind of makes sure where it's blocked off where the actual wing posts go into. In my opinion, that just blocks off all the air from getting into the actual wing belly.
Okay.
So it's just more of a narrow thing, in my opinion.
So you didn't think that you'd call in and I'd ask you a question?
You told me to call in.
No, I didn't.
Kept your hair so good. Now here we are.
I didn't tell you to call in. Get out of here.
No, I know. I'm just giving you.
Are you guys going to be?
No, but
Is Fremont going to go off tomorrow?
I'm currently in Fremont right now, and it just got done raining. So hopefully we can get it in.
Well, there you go. Then you get to come home.
We get to go to New York first, but yes, we're slowly working our way that way.
Well, there you go. That's good.
But no, getting back to the wing thing, like, I don't know, like, if people think it's going to help the program, that's good. But qualifying wings are nothing new, and we're in a big monkey see, monkey do business, and I'm big on, if you want to know what something does, you go and try it. If it don't work for you, then it's money lost, I guess. Or if people just, manufacturers want to see what it's doing, then they see what it's doing and give them feedback. So it's, I don't know, you're always trying to get better, right? It doesn't matter how you do it. That's just, everything is so close today. Everyone's looking for that 10th or that 1,000th. So if they think they can get it, then I guess that's what you try and do.
Yeah, I mean, it's something we're going to talk about on the podcast this week. Again, everything I've heard is it's a little lighter weight. I hear the weight thing a lot.
Yeah, and here's my thing though. Like us in 22, when our car was good, we were good. It didn't matter when we went out. It didn't matter what wing we had on. You know what I mean? And we kind of struggled with that a little bit the last couple of years, trying to find a balance back again. But I am a firm believer, when your car is good, it's good. When your confidence is up, when your team's confidence is up, your driver's confidence is up, confidence is one thing that can't be bought. So to me, when you're good, when the stars align for you, the stars just align for you. It doesn't matter what you have on.
No. Real quick, how would you assess your guys' season so far?
I think California was a big step. I mean, for us, coming out of there with, top 4 in points, I think that was a big thing. We're obviously trying some different stuff, trying to get better, and we're working on it. We'll get there. But as far as everything's going, I mean, the problem is like, these guys out here are so tough. I mean, you see it with the Outlaws, you see it with High Limit. Everyone's so close. And just, everything's starting position because everyone fights for everything. Like years ago, you used to be able to start, 12, 14 and get up to, 8th or 6th. Well, now, like, you're fighting for 10th and you are driving your butt off for 10th. Like, it's crazy. Like, I know last night at Kokomo, like, the track was kind of one lane. And, Rico got going there on the top, and a couple guys could run the top if they were free enough. But the battles that go on back through, like, guys fighting for 9th and 10th is just crazy to me. Like, it's just so close. And we're obviously, if you look back through statistics of Brent spinning that wheel, if there's 8 cars in the dash, we usually start 10th. So, it's just hard to make that ground up with these guys these days. But we're getting it figured out, and we'll get there. I don't know. We're all right. I think we're okay. We'll be all right.
So I'm going to put you on the spot before I let you go, because I want to get through these before 9, which is my absolute cutoff, because I usually don't have a voice. Okay, the watch thing. Where do you come out on this? I know it's putting you on the spot. If you don't want to answer, you don't have to. But
no, it's all right. I know those guys, right? I know Rico, I know Ricky, I know Zach, and I know Brady, and I know Rico's dad. To me, I don't see anything goofy going on there. And the problem of it is like, we went through this back in 2022. Whenever you're good, everyone is always looking for a reason why. Whether, back when we were good in 2022 and we were winning all those races, we got accused of traction control. We got accused of running 2-way radios. And we got accused of running tire sensors in our wheels
that send a signal to our mag to sense wheel spin. I don't even know what half this is. And then, back in going into 2023, we got accused of running illegal wings. It's so tough and hard for me to accept the fact that somebody's cheating these days because, number one, social media just absolutely destroys you, right? Back years ago, if someone ran traction control, you read about it in Area Auto Racing if it came from California. Well, now someone gets caught with traction control, and this is just an example, you read about it in 30 seconds on Twitter.
Good point.
Even back whenever, a couple years ago, when McFadden them got supposedly accused of running illegal tire. Okay, I know all those guys. You know what I mean? Like, the integrity of a lot of these people out here, especially guys that have been doing a long time, like that team was at that time. Like, for me, I didn't believe it. I've worked with most of those guys that were on that team. It's just everyone's always looking for a thing if you're good. And getting back to kind of that deal there, people are going to say, oh, well, it was a tire thing. You're right. But the problem is that goes back to where'd that tire come from? I'm not saying everybody's integrity is 100% because you always have that guy, but you got to look at the sources a lot of the times. So I don't know. The watch thing, if it's a heart monitor and it was assessed, then I'm good with it. Like, I don't know. I've never drove one of these things, but for me to look down at a watch when I'm going into turn 3 wide open, trying to pass for the lead, I don't see it. I just don't.
Fair enough. No, Heath, I wanted to ask you about that. I mean, I know it's kind of a delicate subject because you're out there, or it can be. So, but
yeah, and it can be a delicate. But it's like I said at the beginning, right? Like, every time Rico won 5 out of the last 6 races he competed in.
Yeah,
every
something
time you're
like
good,
that.
there's always something going on. Like, and I don't get it. Like, sometimes people just hit on something. Sometimes people are just good. Like, there is that point where, I mean, Ricky Warner is a Hall of Fame crew chief.
Yeah.
Had 10 Knoxville Nationals, however many championships with Donnie. I don't know. He kicked our ass for years when I was on the Outlaw Tour. Like, just look at the resource of even if you're accused of cheating, why would they need to? Like, that team, once again, goes back to confidence. Rico's confident in his crew. Ricky's confident in what he does. And his other 2 guys are spot on everything they do.
Well, I think too.
I don't know.
I think too. Let's say Rico, if Rico would do so, I mean, look at all the merch sales that go down to Crapper.
Well, but see, and that goes back to the integrity thing. You know what I mean? Like, those guys have enough respect for themselves to where they don't need to. And Rico, yes, I love Rico. I think he's awesome. I've known Rico for quite a many years, and I know Dave really well. Like, I'll tell you this thing: if that were, I just don't see it happening. I don't. If it's a heart monitor, like, and that's fine. I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, I've seen the comments last night on Facebook where it was researched and it was taken to high limit officials, and they deemed it okay. And if it's a heart monitor, then it's a heart monitor. Don't make it out to more than what it is. And you're right. Rico's merch sales go down, his fans go down. And that looks bad on sponsors. Like, that's what a lot of people don't think about. It's hard enough to do this already. Then to go out and cheat, people don't want to be affiliated with that. Like, that's a really slippery slope to go down. So I don't see, it's probably a bigger deal than what people are actually making it out to be. And I don't know. Being out here around these guys all the time, it's a whole different world. Like, I call it the sprint car underground, right? Because people see what they want to see, and then there's people in the underground that actually know what's going on.
I would agree with that. That's definitely true. Well, Heath, I'm going to get back to the chat here, see if there's anybody else calling. I appreciate you calling.
Yes, sir.
And
We'll see what happens tomorrow.
And I might see you in New York, maybe if I could talk in New York.
All right. We'll be there.
All right. Take care.
All right, buddy. See ya.
All right. That's Heath from Brent Mark's crew. Buddy is a killer on the bull rings. Yeah, Buddy has 3 wins already this year. And I know he caught fire at the end of last year. As long as they keep the car, whatever car they have working, he talked about it on our podcast last week. If he keeps that up, he's going to win more races than he did last year. He'll get to double digits. I think that's the over-under. We should ask Jovan Schriltz to set the over-under on Buddy because he's really good at setting over-unders. I'm setting it at 10. I think he can get to 10. All right. Got to give a shout out to Billy Dietrich and a successful Western PA trip. Yeah, he finished second out there at, I believe, Lernerville. Sorry, my voice is going. We got about 15 more minutes. Then I'm toast. But I want to know, before I get to Billy Dietrich, I don't know how Chaz talks 3 and 4 hours. I just don't. I can't do it. But yeah, Billy Dietrich had a nice run. I think there's some other teams you're going to see throughout the year from Central PA go out to like a Lernerville, Tri-City, Sharon. I saw AJ Flick, of course, won Sharon. Ryan Smith was out there this week because he was off from the Kreitz car. JJ Loss went out. Garrett Bard went out. So yeah, I think you're going to see when things around here either get rained out, or maybe when there's some high dollar shows where the kind of the lower buck teams don't go, I could see them going out to Western PA just to take a trip. Billy Dietrich looked good out there. All right. What else we got? A huge car count at Sharon too. Yeah. I mean, I think they have something good at going on at Sharon. I don't know about the Friday night deal out there. Lernerville was 17 cars, Tri-City with 19. I don't know if there's enough cars to go around for 2 tracks on the same night. I don't see that ending well for someone. All right. What else do we got? Any word on Dylan Norris? Wasn't at the Grove. They banged up a car on Wednesday at Lincoln. So I don't know when they'll be back out. It's on my to-do list this week to make a call. Lance had a decent run Saturday. Yeah, not bad. Not bad. He had to come through he didn't make it. I don't think he made it through the last chance showdown. Maybe he took a provisional. I don't think he made it through the last chance showdown, if I'm not mistaken. I think he fell short on. I actually think he fell short. Not sure what his A main status was, but from what I gather, I remember watching it because of Darren Pittman, and yeah, Lance finished 5th in the last chance showdown. So he took a provisional and came up to 13th. It's not bad, but I'm not in favor of provisionals. So, but yes, he had a good run in the main event. Are there a lot of sprint fans in Canada? I think there's more than we think. Oswego does pretty well when there's a special show up there. I've heard they get big crowds. So I don't know if they're sprint car exclusive fans per se, but they might be racing fans. I don't necessarily know the demographic as far as motorsports up there. Sorry to say, but I know Oswego usually does pretty well. I know they have modifieds up there for a while. Mike Malik could talk about the Canadian modified scene. So I think that's a little stronger than the sprint cars, but I mean, Steyrs does a good job up there, and ESS goes up there, other series. So I think the Outlaws, maybe they make it a regular annual deal now. We'll see. Drink beer and vape like Chaz, you'll make it. No. I don't need either of that. No, thank you. I have enough problems so as it is. I don't need to add to it. All right. And that's a wrap on the questions. I appreciate everybody joining the show. I'm going to get out of here, rest my voice a little bit. We will be back next Monday because Grandview High Limit is on Tuesday. So we will be moving the show to Monday next week. Again, thank you to everybody for joining the show. And we'll be back next Monday. Stay tuned.